The fluorescent lights in Dr. Peterson's office buzzed like dying insects. And I'd heard that sound thousands of times during my regular checkups. But today, it was different. Today, it sounded like a countdown timer. Harold, Dr. Peterson said my name, his eyes carrying that peculiar weight doctors develop when they've delivered bad news too many times. The scans show stage 4 lung cancer. It's very aggressive. Stage 4, aggressive. The words floated in the air between us like smoke, ironic considering I'd quit smoking 30 years ago. Apparently, my lungs had kept a grudge. I asked him about the time I had left. And 6 months or a year or even tomorrow, that's what he told me. Because I was old and the cancer had metastasized, he told me I should get my affairs in order. I thought about what needed arranging, yet I still needed 20 minutes sitting in the car I'd been attached to for 20 years before I could get out. I couldn't go inside right away. I sat in the car outside, looking at our house, the house I'd bought 47 years ago, the house where we'd raised David, the house that had witnessed our entire marriage. Margaret was probably in the kitchen making her afternoon tea. She always made tea at 3 o'clock. How many afternoons had I missed that simple ritual? When I finally walked through the door, she knew immediately. Margaret always knew. What did the doctor say? Her hand flew to her chest, and I hated myself for putting that fear in her eyes. Sit down, sweetheart. I need to talk to you. We sat on the couch where we used to watch Johnny Carson together before I started bringing work home, before the couch became just another piece of furniture I walked past on my way to the den. Cancer, stage 4, they're saying 6 months to a year. The sound that came from her wasn't quite a gasp, not quite a sob. It was something more primal, the sound of a heart breaking in real time. She grabbed my hand, her hands still soft after 52 years of marriage, still the hands I'd held on our wedding day. Margaret, I need to tell you something, I said, and suddenly all the words I'd been holding back for decades came tumbling out. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. I've been a terrible husband. Harold, don't, she said, trying to stop me. Her tears fell, hot and unexpected. I hadn't cried in decades. Men of my generation didn't cry. We provided. We persevered. We pushed through. But what good was any of that now? I felt afraid, truly afraid. I was scared of leaving my beloved on this lonely world. How ridiculous! She had always been my beloved, yet I had so often forgotten that. She laid her head on my shoulder, and we cried together on that couch. For the first time in decades, I wasn't thinking about tomorrow's appointments or next quarter's numbers. I was just there, fully present, feeling the weight of my wife beside me and understanding, finally, what I'd been missing all along. David answered on the third ring. Dad, it's me. Everything okay? That was how we talked, now cordial, distant, like business associates who happened to share DNA. It hadn't always been that way. There were pictures somewhere of me holding him as a baby, his tiny hand wrapped around my finger. But somewhere along the line, I'd let go, and he'd learned to do the same. The pause stretched out between us, filled with years of uncomfortable silences and conversations we'd never had. Okay, I'll be there at 10. That was David's answer when I asked him to come over. When David arrived the next morning, he looked tired. He was 48 now, with gray touching his temples and lines around his eyes that I didn't remember being there. When had my son gotten old? Margaret made herself scarce. And David and I sat in my den, the room where I'd spent so many hours away from him. I'm dying, son. Cancer. 6 months, maybe a year. I watched the emotions play across his face: shock, grief, and something else I couldn't quite identify. Relief? No, not relief. Maybe resolution. I don't know what to say. He finally managed. I always wanted you to be successful, I said, but what I really wanted was for you to be successful in the way that would validate my own choices. If you followed my path, it meant my path was right. If you succeeded the way I defined success, it meant I hadn't wasted my life. But in the end, I did follow your path, David said, and now I'm okay, Dad. He was right. When he'd finally given in and followed my blueprint, I criticized him for not having his own vision. You couldn't win with me. I wouldn't let you. I was wrong, I said simply, about all of it. I thought I was teaching you discipline, work ethic, responsibility, but what I was really teaching you was that love is conditional. That approval has to be earned, that you're only valuable if you're productive. You were always exactly what I wanted you to be, I said, and I meant it. I just couldn't see it because I was too busy trying to turn you into what I thought I should have been. Every criticism was really self-criticism. Every impossible standard was the standard I'd set for myself and failed to meet. I'm sorry for trying to turn you into my own version. We sat in silence for a moment. Outside, I could hear Margaret in the garden, life going on. David hugged me. We said nothing, but it felt like the boulder in my chest was being lifted. David said he always loved me, that his life was good, that I shouldn't worry. That evening, I did something I hadn't done in 20 years. I called Thomas, my college roommate who'd started a business with me, my partner who dreamed of changing the world. For 15 years, we built something real. Then came the fight. I can't even remember exactly what started it. A disagreement about company direction, maybe, or was it about money? What I do remember is that I was stubborn. I was sure I was right, and I wasn't interested in compromise. I forced him out. The business thrived for a while after that. I told myself I'd made the right choice, but somewhere deep down, I knew the truth. I'd sacrificed my best friend on the altar of my ego. Harold? His voice on the phone sounded older, uncertain. Hey, Tom, I know it's been a long time. 20 years. Yeah. I didn't know what to say next. How do you apologize for 20 years? Why are you calling? I'm dying. Might as well be direct. Cancer. And before I go, I needed to tell you something. I was wrong about everything, about the business, about pushing you out, about letting pride destroy our friendship. You were my brother, Tom, and I threw that away because I couldn't admit I might be wrong about a business decision. The silence stretched on so long, I thought he'd hung up. Then he said it was okay. The forgiveness came in that way. People pity you because you're someone running out of time, not quite because they've truly forgiven you. That night, lying in bed next to Margaret, I thought about assets versus apologies. In my den, there are filing cabinets full of financial documents, property deeds, investment portfolios. Those were the things I thought mattered. Those were my affairs in order. But what good are any of those papers? David will inherit them, sure. But what he really needs, what we all really need, isn't money. It's peace. It's reconciliation. It's the knowledge that we were loved and that we mattered. I spent 75 years getting my affairs in order the wrong way, building wealth instead of relationships, collecting achievements instead of memories, proving myself instead of loving people. I haven't figured out what to do next yet, but I think I'll live a different life, even though it's very brief, even though it might be just the blink of an eye. If you're reading this and you have more time than I do, at least as far as you know, let me tell you something. You don't have to wait for a death sentence to start living honestly. Don't wait until you're 75 and dying to tell people you love them, to admit you were wrong, to heal the wounds you've caused.
Get your affairs in order now, but make sure you're ordering the right things.